Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great today. I just wanted to give a shout out to all my friends. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I even appreciate y'all leaving comments. So I want to say thank you for that. My question today is former President Donald Trump getting too dangerous? And my reason for saying that is that did former President Donald Trump post former President Barack Obama's home address on his social media page, which almost caused him harm? What was he thinking? Why would he do that? It could have cost him his life. So I wanted to know, do y'all think Trump is getting too dangerous? Because it seems that everybody he's upset with, he wants to cause them harm. Let's listen at this.
In Chase, Taylor Taranto, outside the D.C. home of former President Obama, they say they found these guns, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and a machete in Taranto's van parked nearby. The feds had already been trying to arrest Taranto for allegedly being part of the mob that attacked the Capitol January 6th, for which he faces 4 misdemeanor charges.
Taylor Taranto, the man you just witnessed in that video, the man who was arrested in Obama's DC neighborhood just last week, was discovered with weapons and was also live streaming in the area the exact same day that Donald Trump shared Obama's address on Truth Social. That is the update to the story. The prosecutors have written a memo in this case indicating that there could be a connection between Trump's post on social media and the actions that Taranto took on that day. Taranto, who had an open warrant for his arrest related to the riot charges, the January 6th riot charges, was arrested last week in Obama's neighborhood with firearms after claiming on an internet live stream the day before that he had a detonator. So you can understand that that kind of threat would lead to federal authorities looking for this guy. I mean, he already had a warrant out for his arrest. Now, the weapons that they found on him, or at least in his van, which he is allegedly living in, included 2 guns, 400 rounds of ammunition, a machete, and according to some reports, materials to make Molotov cocktails. There wasn't a bomb or with a detonator found in the van, at least as far as we know at the moment. He was, again, also found to be living in the van. He's originally from Seattle, but when he was discovered and detained, he was in DC. Now, thanks to this new memo, federal prosecutors have provided more details about him and what the allegations against him happen to be. Let's watch.
Federal prosecutors told a judge Taranto could have learned Obama's address from a social media post by former President Trump. They alleged Trump posted what he claimed was Obama's address on his Truth Social platform the same day Taranto was arrested near the home. Taranto is also accused of targeting Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who led Trump's second impeachment. They say Taranto posted a video on June 18th inside an elementary school near Raskin's home.
Now, I want to get to the threats against Raskin in just a moment, but real quick, so on that day that he was found in Obama's DC neighborhood, he also said in a Telegram post, quote, "We got these losers surrounded, see you in hell, Podestas and Obamas." And when it comes to the Raskin related allegations, apparently on Sunday, June 18th, Taranto and several others entered an elementary school near Raskin's home, with Taranto live streaming the group walking around the school, entering the gymnasium, and using a projector to display a film related to January 6th. And that, again, is according to the prosecutor's filing. Taranto stated that he specifically chose the elementary school due to its proximity to Raskin's home, and that he is targeting Raskin because he's one of the guys that hates January 6 people, or more like Trump supporters. And it's kind of like sending a shockwave through him because I did nothing wrong. And he's probably freaking out and saying stuff like, well, he's stalking me, the filing said.
Yeah, that's because you're stalking him.
Yeah, you're at a
with a machete and 400 rounds of ammunition near his kid's elementary school, you freaking lunatic. So there is, letting him out of prison would be insanity, total, utter insanity. So if you're a right winger and you're like, oh, he's got the right to free speech, man. Okay, I mean, a free speech with a machete and a bunch of weapons and 400 rounds of ammunition by his guy's neighborhood and his kids. Yeah, man, free speech. No, that's not free speech. That's stalking. That's assault because you're threatening violence, right? There are laws that are clearly being broken here. I'm going to tell you why this is even an issue in a second as to whether he might be let out. By the way, if you're a left winger and you say no bail for anyone, well, okay, to be fair to left wingers, they don't say that, okay? They say that no bail for some poor people under some circumstances, but I gotta be honest with you guys, the reason I brought it up here is because it would probably apply in this case. Because these are like the level of offenses where you have to get into a situation with bail are extreme. It has to be like murder, rape, like
it depends
armed
on the
robbery.
State. It depends on the state.
And it definitely depends on the state and the jurisdiction. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, and in this case, we're talking about federal prosecutors. But yeah, I mean, point taken. And look, just to comment on your free speech point, obviously protecting free speech is important, but there are limitations to every constitutional right, including the First Amendment. So you're not allowed to go around threatening people's lives or threatening people with violence. Now after his involvement on January 6th, prosecutors wanted him to be detained pending a trial, but the judge said that he couldn't do that, mostly because of the fact that he's only facing 4 misdemeanor charges.
That's right.
And there needs to be proof that this guy is a flight risk, and there was no indication of that. So they did not detain him pending a trial. And so now the real question is, considering the very legitimate threats that he put out there, the fact that he was found in Obama's neighborhood, will they detain him until he faces trial for both January 6th and also these latest charges? We'll see what happens.
Well, so now the explanation of why. So they're trying to keep him in jail because of January 6 charges, but they already failed on that because they're misdemeanors. And I'm sorry, but like I said, the right wing and the left wing agree that on misdemeanors, you should walk until your trial, right? So now, there's new threats against Obama and Raskin, and yes, Kevin McCarthy as well, obviously the leader of the Republicans in the House. So, but they haven't charged those. So I'm wondering what's taking so long.
Yeah,
this is a potential assassination attempt on a former president. What are we waiting on? And I think that they're probably a little worried about like, hey, is it actual assault because he's saying, hey, you're gonna get it, but he didn't say, I'm gonna chop your head off. Oh, you're in a lot of trouble and I know where you live and I know where your kids are, but he didn't say he was gonna dismember them, right? So, and by the way, the guy brags about it. He's like, oh, I got told by another right winger how to cheat and threaten them but calling it free speech. And that if you don't say you're gonna do it directly, they can't do anything about it. No, okay, so is this the loopholes games we're playing? And now right wingers prepare to have your feelings hurt. So are all Republicans lunatics going around Raskin and Obama's house? Of course not, right? But you guys ever say anything about this? I've never seen it. I've never seen a right-wing media pundit or politician. No, to be fair, sometimes the politician because it affects them, like McCarthy, right? But the pundits, like for example, us, we're principled and we pay the price for it, right?
Oh yeah.
So when a left-wing activist surrounded,
Riley
Gaines, that swimmer, and wouldn't let her out of a room. We're like, don't do that, guys. They didn't touch her, but she felt trapped in that room, and the cops thought she was trapped in that room, and she was a little afraid, right? And I'm like, that's not helpful to our cause. I mean, we're calling that out, right? On the right wing, are you calling out the lunatics? And are you telling me, oh yeah, it's all even, man? Really? Are there people circling around, Republic? Actually, in fact, the one time that they did a candlelight vigil in front of Brett Kavanaugh's house, Republicans are like, pass a law. You should never be allowed to protest a Republican. How dare you? What do you think? You got freedom? Now they're like, oh, they're about to murder Raskin and Obama and maybe their kids. Oh, that's fine. No big deal. I don't see any problem. I see no evil. I hear no evil. Right wingers, violence. We would never be violent. Go get him. Go get him. Every lunatic in our audience, go get him. That's what the right wing says every day, and that's why you have guys like this.
Okay. So just a few points of clarification. Riley Gaines did allege that she was hit by one of those protesters, although that hasn't been proven yet, and I haven't seen any updates on that. I just wanted to mention that. The other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is, look, this is a guy who's living in his van. I'm not trying to say like, let him go. Okay, I do think that he is a threat to public safety. He has made numerous threats, not just to Obama, not just to Raskin, even Kevin McCarthy. Like, the fact that if this is proven to be true, all Trump would need to do is post an address and this guy would show up, tells me that he's not well. So like what I want to argue is, yeah, I mean, I think that it would be helpful if the more moderate Republicans, whatever, like said that they do not stand with this, that they condemn it. But more importantly, if let's say, this is so laughable, but like if Bernie Sanders did something like what Obama did and like posted a political opponent's address online, I would be specifically condemning Bernie Sanders for that.
Yeah, what are you doing posting addresses for, Bernie? Well, why would you put McConnell's address? What does that have to do with getting paid family leave or higher minimum wage? We would say, and not only that, we've proven it. We've said it 100 times in different instances and upset our own side. Oh, no, don't be principled, don't be. It's okay when we do it, but not okay when they. But also, no false equivalencies. Like the worst we've gotten from the left is, did they touch Riley Gaines? Did they brush up against Riley Gaines or not? Whereas other sides got bombs in the vans, and you got the guys sending the pipe bombs to every Democrat there is. There's shooting after shooting after shooting after shooting. It's not a coincidence. The right-wing media weaponizes people that they know are mentally unwell in their audience. They know they're speaking to a broad audience, but instead of saying, hey guys, don't do violence, don't do anything physical, as we say 1,000 times on this show, they're like, well, I mean, is somebody gonna do anything about this? I mean, this is the worst thing in the world, right? Lunatics, go grab a weapon. And weapons are awesome. Weapons are awesome. Let's go get them. Well, I didn't say anything. So is Tucker Carlson that different than this guy? Who's like, hey, technically, I'm not sure I did anything illegal. Okay, I just told you these are the worst people on earth, and that maybe somebody should do something about it, and that your most important right is the one to have a weapon.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. With that being said, I can see mental health. Number one, I see mental health issues with the guy living in his van, which doesn't necessarily mean he got mental health issues because he stay in his van. Because a lot of people stay in a van, that's their choice. So I'm not gonna say mental health for that. But what I do say mental health for is when you are trying to harm somebody and you got all these weapons and then you're on live stream talking about what you're gonna do to somebody. I see mental health there because of what Trump did. And that's why I say, do you think the former president, Donald Trump, is getting a little bit too much dangerous? Do we need that as a president? Because to me, every time you say something, we got lunatics out here responding to what you're saying. And everybody is not mentally well. And so are you saying these things? It's like you throw a rock and then you sit back and see where it lands. And you got some people out here that are acting on it. And somebody could really get hurt because of things that you have said. And so what I have learned is that the guy had ammunition. Uh, he had a machete, 2 guns, and 4 rounds of ammunition. He also was registered to have weapons. And I don't see nothing wrong with having weapons, but what happens when they get into the wrong hand? So then we'll say it's not weapons, it's the person that's holding the weapons. Um, I see mental health. That's what I see. Taylor Taranto, he's 37 years old. And just because Trump posted this on social media, why would Trump? Because I see mental health issues with Trump being a president. I don't see you being mature. I don't see a mature individual. You are a former president, and you're posting another president, former president, home address on social media. Why would you do that? I just see mental health. That's something that teenagers do, not a grown adult. What was the purpose of him doing that? And then you got this guy that's following your every move. And soon as you did that, then he live stream. He gets on live stream making threats against Obama. Wow. It doesn't make any sense. It's not right. Number one president, my opinion, he should have never done that. Why would you post another president's I'm gonna post another president's address online, and I think it's okay because I don't think it's okay. Uh, Not at all. So he's, to me, if you're doing things like that, you're getting more dangerous as somebody running for president. To me, that's very dangerous. Nobody wants their address leaked. I know I wouldn't. I don't know about you. So here's a picture of former President Barack Obama, whose address was leaked. And these are 2 ex-presidents. That's the highest office you can get in. So what made him want to leak his address online? What was the purpose of that? And they are saying that Taranto got Obama's address after it was shared online by Donald Trump. And this was according to DC filings, court documents. This is something that Trump had posted. And in red over here on the document is showing Obama's address. And this is Taylor Taranto. He's 37. He's got 400 rounds of ammunition, and he was detained last Thursday. Then they also found out that they had a warrant for him for being in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. So here you see weapons that he had that they found in his van. So I think he is being held. They were saying, I think it was a debate, but federal prosecution highlighted that since that he was allegedly uh, in the January 6th insurrection, that they wanted to hold him in custody until trial. It's like, why would you let him out if he's a threat? Some may say he is, some may say he's not. Everybody had their own opinion. But what we do know is that shortly after ex-President Donald Trump posted Obama's address, you got a lunatic out here, which could have been anybody. You're going to live stream, go to his neighborhood, and I think Secret Service picked up on it because you was going into a restricted area, which is protected heavily by the United States Secret Service. So I was Secret Service was definitely started monitoring him when you went live, and especially when you drove in his neighborhood, which is it's a restricted area. You just can't go in its president neighborhood. Secret Service was watching and picked up and followed him because they wanted to know more about what he was doing. And then he was on media quoting him saying that he's riding by President Obama's house, bragging about his plans to get the shot. So I don't know if he was talking about using his weapons. They were saying something about, he said he had a hand grenade, but they didn't find that in his van. So I'm glad of that. But the Secret Service acted immediately and started to monitor him. So they definitely was on that. They were definitely was doing their job. And then another thing, so they arrested him as a fugitive because of the January 6th related, where he had a warrant. And so they, by him living in his van, they couldn't locate him. But they had a warrant out for his arrest. The reason they had a warrant out for his arrest is because a widow of a DC police officer who died by suicide after the riot had sued Taranto and another man. The other man name is David Walls Kahoof. He is currently in prison now. I don't know what he's in prison now for, but they did get him for being associated with the police officer who committed suicide. So they saying allegedly Taranto, he was representing himself in the lawsuit. denied handling the pipe or a cane used to strike the police officer in the face. And so I think what this widow police officer wife is saying is that they were the ones at the January 6th riot, and they used a pipe or a cane and hit her husband in the face, who was a police officer. And he was one of the police officers that took his life. He went home and committed suicide. So that's him walking. He was also at the riot, and definitely pictures showing him at the riot. He's in the Capitol, so he can't say that he wasn't there, but I think he posted some of the pictures of him being at the Capitol online. So he was admitting to being at the insurrection on January the 6th, following Trump. So to me, he's one of Trump's greatest supporters, and everything Trump say, he's following him. And Trump is getting a lot of people in trouble. That was the ride that Trump held January the 6th. And there's Taranto again in the Capitol. And I think this was where a police officer, if you look at the picture, one of the police officers was in there, and he's near the police officer. But they took Trump signs and they rallied at the Capitol on January the 6th. And so Secret Service agents took Taranto down, who was near ex-President Obama's house. So hopefully they will keep him in custody until his trial date. It's funny how people can take pictures as ex-presidents and their wives, and you'll think that people are okay. But here I am posting your address as if I didn't know what would happen. I knew if I posted it, if somebody out there is going to come and harm you and take matters into their hands. And they do it because Trump don't have to say go and do it, but you're putting stuff out here for people to, okay, because as soon as you put his address out, you got somebody running to his house or making threats against him, wanting to harm ex-President Barack Obama. And so I thought that was wrong. You got a lot of people out here with mental health issues. And so when Trump do things, it sort of pushes somebody of one of his supporters to go and attack people. And so if this is what Trump is doing, he's trying to harm certain people in communities, then I don't know if that's a president. Is that what we need as a president? I mean, because you're going to get somebody killed one day. Do we want somebody like ex-President Donald Trump as to go back and be get a second term as a president when you are out here trying to cause harm against other people? And Barack Obama is not even running for president. So why would you put his address out there knowing somebody's going to go and try to harm President Obama for you? They're definitely doing it in your name. because they got you posted on everything that they do that's not right. So I'm gonna leave it there. I would want to know your thoughts. How do you feel about it? Leave your comments. I definitely want to know, how do you feel? Is it right what Trump is doing, or is it wrong what Trump is doing? Should Trump had known him leaking ex-President Barack Obama address and you putting it on social media, that you're gonna have somebody out here go and try to harm the ex-president? I mean, I think that's getting a little bit deep. Should Trump had known? All right, I'm gonna leave it there.